Am I the problem for taking my kids to their dad's funeral? Part 1. I'm going to jump right in because the funeral is this Friday. My ex-husband passed away last week in a car accident, very unexpectedly. The troopers came to my house. I'm his emergency contact, to break the news. The first person I called was his father, and he flew out the next day with my ex's sister. Before he flew out, he asked me where we should have the service in Texas, where we live, or back in Maryland where our families and friends all still live. I told him I felt like the service needed to be in Maryland because that was where everyone was, and my ex's father, agreed. He let me know the funeral home said they might be able to do a small viewing with just family, and I agreed to doing that as long as I felt like he was in a condition he'd be okay with. I met my ex's sister and his dad at the funeral home to go over paperwork and plan the viewing. He told me all the details for the funeral back home, and we talked a bit about where my ex worked, his day-to-day life, his home, and the probate process. His father was taking care of the probate process and seemed defensive about some of his belongings. I really felt like focusing on my children was more important than arguing over small things in the home. All of that could wait, so I backed off of helping with cleaning out his home and handed all of his insurance paperwork and other information I had that would be useful to them, like contacts at his work and his electric login. We had the viewing, both of our children said goodbye to their dad, and it was very emotional. At the viewing, I mentioned that a friend had paid for our tickets to fly home, as I was quickly realizing how much everything was going to cost, and I suddenly was without the financial help of their dad. I was extremely thankful for their generosity. Part 2.